Here's my question to you. Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg is coming clean now? Better late than never? Maybe. But is it genuine, or is it getting out ahead of something? Is it a change of heart? If it is, I want the flash of genius moment that we always talk about. Like, what made you change your mind? What is motivating this?
It's urgency, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If it's a sense of urgency, man, I hope it's real. I hope it's like, oh my gosh, I've been on the wrong team on censoring ideas. Now, he may not be a conservative, but at the same time, you go, maybe we need to let this play out. Maybe it's more important that people have freedom of speech than it is that I get to kind of determine what speech people hear, and that the White House can't influence me the same way that they did in the past. I hate saying this out loud. Listen to what I'm about. Years after revelations confirmed the Harris-Biden White House, they were coercing social media. Years after those revelations were confirmed. Like, it takes so long for this stuff to come out. And this is why Alex Jones ends up being more right than wrong so many times. And you're like, what? He said what? 2 years later, the frogs turn out to be gay. And you're like, well, I guess he called it.
Right, sometimes.
So I said, not all the time, sometimes.
Yeah.
He's not all the time right. I love you, Alex, but sometimes you're wrong. So they were coercing social media companies to censor disfavored viewpoints. Mark Zuckerberg. How dare you?
They're just reiterating.
Oh, dude, and
I paused. I did a pregnant pause. You're right.
It felt right. Sorry.
Zuckerberg decided to come clean.
Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook's parent company, now says he regrets agreeing to requests from the Biden administration to censor content related to COVID-19. In a letter to the House Judiciary Committee chairman, Jim Jordan, Zuckerberg wrote this, quote, in 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our team for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it.
Well, look, we here at Louder with Crowder are extremely excited that Mark finally got his personality upgrade. He has been on that waiting list for a long time. Terrible movie.
Was it installing a backbone?
Yes, installing a spine.
Have you tried unplugging him and plugging him back in? I don't know what happened to Mark Zuckerberg, but he seems like he is moving in a much more based direction. I'm not saying he's made the transition yet. I'm just saying he's doing things, like
Steven
drinking
jiu-jitsu.
Wasn't he drinking a beer, holding an American flag, and surfing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool.
Wake
and
surfing.
He said the comments about Donald Trump after the attempted assassinations, that it was one of the most badass moments in American history. Like, there's a lot to like, but listen, I don't want to go crazy with this, but Biden's White House, they were not. Harris's White House, because it's hers as well, right?
Well, she wants to take credit sometimes, but
Not all
also
the time.
she had nothing to do with anything that was bad. So
She wants to
think
build a
about
wall
that.
now. Did you hear that? We'll get to that here in just a second. It's not I'm not
Is she
kidding.
copy pasting?
I am not kidding.
Dude, no, for real. The Wall
Guys,
Street Journal.
research, do me a favor, pull an overlay for me on that. Let me know when you have it.
She probably presented
Axios
it
had
like it was her own original idea. Like, I might be good.
Maybe.
They're actually, the Wall Street Journal is calling her Koala Harris right now
Koala?
because she's building walls. Koala Harris.
I don't get it.
I don't get
Do
it.
koala bears build walls?
No, oh my God.
Just to see your head explode every once in a while is kind of nice.
Just drop like
it
30
really did.
points.
Because you said something. That's what happened. You killed us all.
Okay, boss.
I couldn't follow it. Koala Harris. But look, the Harris administration, they're not subtle about their pressure when they responded to Facebook when some of the content fell through the cracks that they didn't like and didn't want. Here's what they said. Are you guys effing serious? I want an answer on what happened here, and I want it today.
Whoa.
Now, I added the yelling because it's an email. You can infer
They
it.
were definitely yelling.
I think they were yelling.
And then they called J.G. Wentworth. It's my money, and I want it now.
Oh, my gosh. He did it again.
877 cash now.
Look, in addition
Not
to
a sponsor.
COVID, censorship ordered by the White House, shut up, across multiple social media platforms included 2020 election integrity, memes making fun of Jill Biden, and also the, the thing that would have changed the election, because we have polling data on this, the Hunter Biden laptop that was first seen on this show.
Have you seen the pictures of him with the crack pipe?
You're darn right I have.
Oh, wow. Does he at least look, like, cool?
Unfortunately, I can't show them to you right now, but this is the hard drive they're on.
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh.
Oh my word. Let me ask you this, Mayor Giuliani, how did you get that hard drive? Because this is the crux of the New York Post article being throttled right on social media. They said that you've been working with a Russian agent, or that it's entirely false.
Actually, I got it directly from Putin.
It's a fantastic answer. It's like, yeah, screw you. He left it at a Geek Squad or whatever the heck it was. He left laptops all over the place. How many did he have?
That is a good question.
Somebody needs to dig into why he had so many laptops with incriminating evidence that he left all over the world for people to find.
He kept losing them.
Yeah, it's like throw that away, get rid of it. It's got incriminating evidence. Take it to a computer place that'll own it and turn it on after a few days.
Hunter Biden thought he was Neo for a minute.
He did.
Cracked out.
Follow the white rabbit.
I love that that's like one of the most iconic moments of this show, and it was like during Halloween or something, so Steven's dressed up in costume.
He's dressed up Back to the Future set that we had.
like
Holy crap, the biggest piece of information in the last
You're like,
we,
wait, what?
We broke row
Serious
during
news?
Cultural Appropriation Month, and I was dressed like
did.
Tom
God.
Selleck.
You were.
That's so funny.
Now
Well, I
Josh
kind of
is.
look like Tom Selleck. I put the lick in Tom Selleck, you know?
I don't know.
Ew.
No.
So,
Gross.
the White House's censorship, just a reminder, look, this is not about us, but it is a bit about us because we have been fighting this fight for a very long time, fighting it in a lot of ways. Before people even really knew that this was going on, we were being targeted, right? We were listed. Steven Crowder, specifically. Steven, not you. Not me. You, sorry. Was listed as a repeat spreader of misinformation in a report by the Election Integrity Partnership, Stanford University as well. Do me a favor. Also research as far as trusted media outlets. I believe there was a graph that somebody sent me that had pictures of news outlets, and it was like an arc, like of trustability, and it had all the different networks on there. We were in like the bottom right in like the most extreme category, and I think we were the furthest right, which is surprising.
As a repeat
InfoWars was
spreader?
on there, Alex, and again, I love you, but a lot of people would consider that pretty far right, and we were listed as the most right. If you can't find it, let me know. I've got it on my phone. One of my friends sent it to me. Stuff like that is insane, right? So this group was hired by the White House to identify problematic content creators.
This is Kamala's White House.
Yes, Kamala's White House.
Came after us.
This isn't like, years and years and years and years ago, like, oh, you guys are bringing up old stuff. There is old stuff to get to, too. It seems to be consistent across Democrat White Houses coming after us. You know who didn't come after us?
Me?
Trump's
welcome.
White House.
No.
Now, CDC, on the other hand, they didn't like us, and we'll get to that here. You guys remember when we had the case that went up to SCOTUS that we filed a brief on? They punted that case back in June, unfortunately. I wonder if that should come back up, if maybe people would change their minds on that case a little bit and make sure that the government is not allowed to reach out to these agencies to censor people that they do not like. Because that is exactly what happened. They don't have to prove their case. All they have to do is say, hey, it'd be a shame if we had to investigate you guys a little further. Maybe make Steven Crowder not show up on people's feeds.
So,
Thanks.
let's say Steven gets one thing wrong. Let's say he's like, oh, I thought there was a ballot wrongfully cast here, and it actually
Right.
turns out that was a legitimate ballot. Fine,
Right.
whatever. It's a mistake. Every news outlet's going to make that.
Yes.
Every creator's
We have an
gonna come in.
admonish button specifically for that.
And we admonish ourselves. We're
time.
not above admitting that we can make mistakes. Yet CNN and MSNBC and all these bullshit outlets can run for 4 years that Trump was an illegitimate president
Right.
because he was propped up by the Kremlin.
Yeah.
And that was all completely disproven. Why are they not on the election integrity list? I just
Repeat spreader of misinformation.
I don't understand. It's almost
That's a good
perplexing
point.
to
That's
me.
a good point. These things happen all the time, and they get a pass because they're legacy media. And, well, we were just trusting in this. Oh, you were? They were lying the entire time. And look, I understand people will make mistakes. We talked about that. Did they come out and say, hey, this whole Russia collusion thing, that was a hoax and we were wrong?
They spent billions of dollars covering that.
Yes, they did. By the way, the censorship of this show goes back to 2016 under Barack Obama, even before then, but specifically under Barack Obama when Facebook was caught throttling conservatives. I'll read you a quote. Facebook workers routinely suppress news stories of interest to conservative readers from the social networks influential trending news section. According to a former journalist who worked on the project. I read that like I was Al Sharpton. And I apologize. This also included Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, popular conservative news aggregator, The Drudge Report, back when that was conservative, Chris Kyle, the former Navy SEAL who was murdered in 2013, and former Fox News contributor Steven Crowder. There we are again, back under the Obama administration, being censored by our White House. Do you understand that?
No, it's Facebook. They didn't have any.
Oh, they didn't have
They
any,
weren't nudged at all
not
by
at
the
all,
Obama
not at all.
administration.
Even though we know,
Even
that
though
they
Mark
were
just
nudged
said
all
they
the time.
had been.
Yes,
Right.
And recall in 2019, this little thing about the Vox apocalypse.
Steven Crowder is a conservative comedian who makes videos on YouTube. He's pretty popular. He's got close to 4 million subscribers and tens of millions of viewers. His stuff isn't for everyone, but so. If you don't like his videos, watch Colbert. It's a free country, or it used to be. The press is working to change that. A few days ago, a writer at Vox.com demanded that YouTube ban Steven Crowder. Why? For the crime of insulting him.
So we have a higher standard for monetization. So then we did announce the monetization change that Steven Crowder his monetization.
So was that in reaction to people reacting to you not reacting?
Are they so
was
close?
That something that you were already planning
Pre-COVID.
to do and just hadn't got around to announcing?
No, we were in the process of looking at that.
YouTube dragged its feet before taking any action against conservative commentator Steven Crowder,
This dumbass.
despite being informed of Crowder's 2-year homophobic harassment campaign against journalist Carla Maza.
Carla.
You just misnamed him,
Harassment against Carla.
Carlos. And I
she
will get
can't
into the
read
lascivious nature of this. You guys can go and watch that, and also watch the apology. Wonderful, very heartfelt.
Yeah.
There were other examples of this, right? So one, that's massive. Like the largest company on the planet at the time for any social media at all. Not at the time, still Google, like one of the most powerful companies in the world, basically just says, yeah, we took care of it, but we're just going to remove his ability to make a living. Like Stephen has made that point. I don't think a lot of people really grab onto that when you're
Thank
like, oh, you
you,
got
Mug Club.
demonetized. Like exactly. Why do you think he was so adamant about Mug Club too? It's because he knew these people would come for him and try to silence him. He knew that people would go after advertisers like they are doing today in a very concerted effort, like we showed you guys a couple of weeks ago. He knew all of that was coming, and the only way to provide any kind of absolute against it is to have an uncancelable show. You guys made Steven Crowder uncancelable. Steven saw it coming and asked you for your support, and you did it. So thank you for that, because other examples, we had our Oscars stream taken down because it wasn't transformative. I was dressed as an Oscar trophy. That has to be transformative. People don't just sit there. We had it up, and then they came back later and like, oh, okay, maybe not. And it's like, well, you can't get it back because you took it down before you asked us anything. Much like CNN was threatening to take down everybody's stream of the debate between Biden and Trump. You guys remember that when we talked about it? Mm-hmm. Basically saying, oh, we're just going to strike you and take it down. And like, oh, you can't get that back. Do you know how many people didn't get to watch that debate? Because they're like, screw CNN, I'm not tuning in, and they're not going to show it anywhere else, and they just didn't do it. You need every voice out there covering this stuff. It shouldn't be me quoting the CDC on COVID that gets a strike. That's another example. Or the Nashville Manifesto removed from YouTube. Why? We are covering what this person wrote. Everybody should have access to that information, especially when other manifestos are allowed, when other difficult quotes are allowed to be read. It seems like it's only when it goes in one direction that YouTube says that's fine. But also with Carrie Lake on the election in her state, YouTube suspended us right before the 2022 midterms. Now, thankfully, Rumble exists. And we went from having the largest live stream election ever in 2020, thanks to you guys, to having the largest election live stream ever off of YouTube in 2022. Again, thanks to you guys. You know what we want to do for 2024? We want to blow the doors off of legacy media by taking not just the biggest audience that night, but the biggest group of people looking for all of the election information that they can possibly find, including things that are happening in each one of these swing states that may be nefarious. Maybe Bristol boards going up. Maybe stuff coming in Coleman coolers. They still make Coleman coolers, or it's all Yeti now. All of that stuff that goes on. We don't want you to have to go to legacy media ever again for anything related to the election, because they have proven time and time again that they are not worth your trust. They cannot be trusted to report on this stuff objectively, right? Make sure you sign up for Mug Club. Click the button right here, I believe it is. See if you can do the button here. Bam! Look, nailed it. Click right there. Join us today in this fight. fight because we are going to go out and get all of this information for you. I cannot stress how much fun you're going to have over the next few weeks with some of the stories that it's going to blow your mind, some of the stories that we have. And I'm not saying that like it's the biggest story ever, because eventually people just stop listening to you because it's not the biggest story ever every single time. But these are massive, massive stories.
I just wanted to touch on kind of Mug Club here for a second. As a former viewer before I came to the show, as I remember when I discovered this show, it's when I was in a place surrounded by people that would have laughed at my viewpoints or not taking me seriously. And I was in a different place away from home, and I found this show, and it was during kind of the Vox, a little pre the Vox situation. And I signed up because I wanted to support what this show is doing for me. So when people are signing up now, they're not only preserving their news source or what gives them joy, they're giving an opportunity for someone else to discover that they're not alone, that people do share their viewpoints.
So helpful.
That they can make a change because the numbers are bigger than you think they are, because you get stuck in your daily kind of echo chamber and you get very, very disheartened. What Mug Club has done, and thanks to the support of these people that are doing it right now, they can make that continue for future generations, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds that we need to reach if we want to change this country long term.
Yeah.
So please, and thank you for everything that you've done. I just wanted to say that to the viewers out there.
We love you, Mug Club.
Hey, speaking of information, we actually have that arc chart you were talking about.
Oh, okay, good. Show that really quickly, and then we'll do this last one. See us? You see? Zoom in on the bottom right, please. Do you see that? They put us to the right. Listen, go all the way to the top. All the way to the top. Most extreme.
What is the bottom? What is the bottom?
Go down all the way to the bottom, please.
I was waiting for that.
Go to the bottom there, bottom left. So what is that? I can't quite read that.
Contains inaccurate/fabricated info.
We have the most. Okay, so according to them, us, and then Dan Bongino is to the left of us, which is kind of funny. We're in kind of different worlds in how we do this stuff.
and
InfoWars and all. And Tucker's right over there too. It's like, what? It's like most inaccurate and furthest right possible. Have you seen the comedy show that we do? I'm not the comedy guy. Listen. But we're a comedy show. Come on. By the way, we were also suspended from Twitter in 2018 for a comedy video.
So my friend Steven Crowder has now been suspended from Twitter for violating its hateful conduct terms. They posted a South by Southwest video of Sven Computer infiltrating a gender fluid panel.
I remember this video.
Suspended Steven's account. It's just a comedy video, right? It's typical Crowder. Right, Crowder's the guy who does Tranny Bane. Right, this is his shtick.
You got to dump that.
He's a comedian. Comedians do lots of stuff that walks right up to the edge and sometimes crosses over the edge. This is a reason that you're going to be banned from Twitter?
Yes.
Jack Dorsey's Twitter.
We called it a long time ago, Ben. Long time ago. And unfortunately, we're all dealing with the fallout from it now. So look, here's my question to you. Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg is coming clean now? Better late than never? Maybe. But is it genuine, or is it getting out ahead of something? Is it a change of heart? If it is, I want the flash of genius moment that we always talk about. Like what made you change your mind? What is motivating this?
It's urgency, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If it's a sense of urgency, man, I hope it's real. I hope it's like, oh my gosh, I've been on the wrong team on censoring ideas. Now, he may not be a conservative, but at the same time, you go, maybe we need to let this play out. Maybe it's more important that people have freedom of speech than it is that I get to kind of determine what speech people hear, and that the White House can't influence me the same way that they did in the past. He did say that they'd be ready to stand up to that influence again if it happened. Good. I want to see that
again right now. I think
it's definitely.
I bet they're calling him today, like, Mark, buddy, pal. I thought we were on the same tide.
I think this is his warning shot. He's like, hey, I'm getting the emails again. Like,
maybe stop it.
Make a statement right here. Not a definitive, like, you're doing it again. I don't want to tell everybody you're doing it again, but you need to stop, or I'm going to.
Yeah.
I would say it's a little twofold. I think he is probably a little more right-leaning than your average Silicon Valley tech bro. He did, think about it. Facebook started as rating girls on how hot they were. That's kind of based.
Yes.
And also he's surfing and he's doing jujitsu. Like Steven said, he's becoming more masculine the older he gets. I think all that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I put this in on air earlier. There's a tweet from a guy named Joshua Steinman. I think he used to work in the Trump house, the Trump White House, who mentioned that a reason that Mark might be doing that is because he has his ear to the ground on public sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there. So Zuck has access to real-time global human sentiment machine. If you think he's coming clean about Kamala has been doing just for the sake of doing the right thing, you aren't paying attention. He knows what's coming. What he's saying is he's reading the tea leaves. He's seeing there's a great chance that Trump is going to take the White House again. Republicans are going to take the Senate. And I want to maybe maintain my Section 230 protections. Maybe I want to make money.
So it could be self-serving.
I think it's probably a little bit of both in this case.
Okay, so I hope there's at least a sliver of goodness in there that is driving this, but we will see.
Hey, if you're still watching this video, comment below. Sorry, I'm parched. I can't drink from that. But you can click the video and watch it. But what is it a hat?